conversation is going round. People talking about the colors come to town. Fresh as a summer breeze, she'll take you by surprise.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Waves. We have a great show lined up this morning. We have a great show every time we have Fresh Waves. Our technical producer today is none other than Jason Rumball, and our man-at-large helper with everything is Ivan Harris, and thank you to both of them for all that they do for Fresh Waves. We've got muffins in the station this morning, and those are provided by Reese's Market and Bakery there at 5758 Main Street. Go in and check out all the great things that Reese's has to offer. Today, we will be speaking with Tammy. And Tammy is a Facebook expert. Who knew there was such a thing? But let me tell you, the amount of time that I have spent on Facebook in the early stages when my kids were little and growing up and starting to use the platform to now where it's considered to be an old fogies platform and they've all moved on to other platforms like Instagram. I have often wondered how to figure out the oh-so-complicated world of Facebook. And Tammy's here this morning to help us do just that. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome to Fresh Waves.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm excited.
It's going to be a lot of fun because this seems like such a, I mean, you could put me on Mars and I would be just as confused as spending an afternoon on Facebook.
And you're not alone in that.
I have actually tried to reply to something that I thought was reply worthy, and all of a sudden, a line of emojis come up, and before you know it, I have put a sad face or an angry face on something that is neither sad nor angry.
Yes.
Or worse off, put the laughing face on a notice of someone's demise, and I can't get rid of it, and I'm poking it. I poke my phone so hard I think I'm going to poke a hole right through it, and Facebook will not let me erase it. Then I have to write an explanation about what a moron I am on Facebook in order to explain the fact that I've just put a happy, smiley, laughy face on somebody's death notice. The platform is very simple, but it's also very confusing, and it can be a nightmare for people.
It can, however, to be completely honest, the computer version is so much more user-friendly in getting yourself out of situations like that. I personally not a fan of the Facebook app on the phones.
On the phone, right.
Yeah, and we're limited with what we can do on that. So I only use it just to quickly check things, but most of the time I make sure I'm on a computer because then I know I can get out of the messes that I might get myself into.
So what do you call your company?
I named it after myself, so I branded me. So it's Tammy Hudgin, and then my tagline is creating your presence, because that's what was important to me, was to create a presence, as opposed to, it's not just about learning the technical side of Facebook, it's about how to create your presence and build something. Okay.
And how to create your presence and build something.
Mm-hmm.
I think for 90% of the people that are on Facebook, building a presence is just, this is who they are, and last night was my dad's birthday, and my son just won the ski tournament, and
so for me, my main client base are business owners. That's who I work with, but at the same time, because I know Facebook so well, I also teach people. And I don't like to use the word regular people, but people who are not business owners, I just teach them to understand the world of Facebook, right? Get through all those glitches or your privacy settings, or, how to clean up your news feed, which is a big one, right? How to, if you go into Google and you're searching for something, let's say you're shopping for a new bed, and then you come back into Facebook and now you're seeing advertisements for ads for beds. So but you can actually get rid of that element, and there's features in it. Yes. So I teach people how to clean that up. Like I get no ads from Google. Because I used to just go and look for things that were just fun. You see something interesting that you've never seen before, and you think, oh, that looks pretty cool. Let's check it out. And you go to check it out. Okay, these socks that I like the pattern of. And I thought, I wonder if those are acrylic, or I wonder if they're wool. So I go to the shop now because I thought the description would tell you, which it doesn't. And then I browsed through what people were saying about it to see if there was more information about it. Do a little hunt and find, like a little detective.
I am inundated with sock commercials.
Yes.
I didn't realize there were so many sock companies in the world. And if I see another ad for socks, I'm going to scream.
Yes.
And you can't get rid of them. They pop up everywhere, on my computer, on my phone, everywhere
So I'll give you the
with
quick
socks.
tip. And you can do it from your phone or from the computer. But basically, you want to go into your settings, your privacy settings. So on the computer, you would, if you're an Android, you'll have like, they call them, I was going to say a hamburger, but the 3 lines will be in the top right. If you're an iPhone user, I believe it's in the bottom right.
Okay.
But you're going to click on that, go into settings, and under there, you're going to find an option that says add preferences. If you go in there, you'll have a feature where you can turn it off that when you are searching in the world of Google, whatever you're looking for will not come into Facebook. And on your computer, when you're logged into Facebook, you're going to click the drop-down arrow in the top right-hand corner. Go to settings, and then down the left, you'll see where it says ads preferences as well. Go in there and turn it off. Then you can have free reign to do what you want in Google, and it's not going to show up in your Facebook news feed.
Oh, that would be so nice. All right, thank you. You can go now. No.
Yeah.
That's like
I know.
One of those golden nuggets, right? You know, we could do a whole hour podcast, and at the end of it, that takeaway is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, it's huge.
Anyway, I can't imagine that one day you just woke up and said, you know what, Facebook looks pretty cool. Think I'll do that. How in the heck did you ever get into doing the Facebook thing?
Yeah, so it was probably about 13 years ago now. I had started in a direct sales company. It was a jewelry company. And I was sitting on Facebook, and I'm like, I got to be able to use this to build a business. There's got to be a way I can do this. So I just started playing. And I had found there, at that time they were called fan pages. So like Stouffville had a fan page called City of Stouffville. So it was a lot of city pages, not much else. So I thought, I'm going to have a page. So I created a page, and I gave it a business name and just created this page. And then I'm like, well, that's great, but I don't know anyone. Like, what am I supposed to do now? So I then thought, okay, there was the group element on Facebook, and it was mostly with hobbies. So if you were a knitter, you could join a knitting club on Facebook. So a quilter, right. So I decided to create a group for home-based businesses. So I created the group, and then I went, okay, well, now I'm in the same boat. I still don't know anyone, because if I want to get them in here and then ultimately get them to my business. So my first lesson in Facebook, what I decided to do was to visit all the community pages, and I posted the exact same post on all of the pages saying, I've started this group. If you're a business owner, join us. And I went into Facebook jail for being a spammer. So I was locked out of Facebook for 10 days.
10 days.
10 days. And it was my first lesson in really understanding from a business standpoint what I could or could not do. So at that time, once I got myself back in and I started building the group with other business owners, it brought more exposure to my jewelry. And I utilized the group from a networking standpoint. I would share ideas, ask questions, do tips, quotes, humor, and promote my business. And from that, other business owners asked me to teach them. So I launched a Facebook training business, and I would travel and go around to all different towns and cities, and I'd get about 30 people in a room, business owners, and I would just teach them what I was doing, how to work it, what you should be putting out there. And from that, because it becomes overwhelming, from that, people then wanted more from me, from, hiring me to do the work for them. And I went full blown into the social or Facebook world. And that's how I got to where I am today. So I do a lot of speaking around it. I do workshops. I manage businesses. I think I have 34 businesses that I look after. I manage a lot of groups because I really believe in the networking and teaching. And that's ultimately what brought me where I was. And then it was interesting because the company I did very well building on social media. That company eventually closed. So that's when I made the decision to go full-time into the Facebook world as a business.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
So Facebook's come under some pretty rough scrutiny lately.
Yes.
And does that affect your world in particular?
Not enough. there's a ton of privacy settings in Facebook, and right from the get-go, I made sure that I was always on top of those privacy settings. So for myself, I didn't go into any panic modes because I knew that I had set my things up so that they couldn't get my information. Since that had happened, there was a particular feature in our privacy settings that when you used a third-party app, so let's say you wanted to download a game or play a game through Facebook. That's a third-party app. What happened is because none of us would really read when we would download or log into that app, we wouldn't read the privacy, we wouldn't read policies or anything. And in there, we were actually giving them permission to access all of our information. But that was right in Facebook. So through the trainings, that was a big thing that I consistently teach people. Get in here, I'll show you how to do it, clean it up. They've since removed that since the big scandal with Cambridge Analytics. They then went in and actually removed that element. So we have a little bit more security without us having to do anything, if you know what I mean. So it was, from a personal standpoint, there was a lot of people quite upset for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right? But I think the lesson we all got out of that is now we all pay more attention to any platforms that we're involved with, right? We're now going, if I'm going to start using Instagram, we take that extra second now to actually go through our privacies and make sure that our information is not getting out there. And I don't think we'll ever be 100% protected.
Right. And I know there's a lot of people who don't know that and they don't understand that. So if we take the rest of this show kind of from the perspective of you've got the bottom suckers of Facebook, the people who are like me, who don't really get into the privacy settings. Okay, so I've had to because Claudio comes on every now and again and talks to us about internet security, so I've had to start paying attention. Yeah. But we live in a fast-paced world. We live in a world where in so much as you don't have time to read the policy, you're in a hurry, you want to get something done, you click on the wrong button, and now on every page of my computer is a recipe notice, and I have to actually go to that website, then get out of the website in order to get it off of my computer, and I don't know how to get it off of my computer totally. Yeah. So, and that was because I was in a hurry one day.
And that's really what it comes down to, right? Most of us are in a hurry, so we don't take that extra couple of seconds.
Yes, to go into the privacy settings or even know how. And Facebook is pretty famous for putting in layers and layers and layers of things, and it doesn't take you 2 minutes. It takes you half a day
to get through it all. The interesting thing that came out of that, though, was that all of a sudden when they got nailed for it, people probably noticed all these emails they were getting from every platform they were involved with saying, we've updated our terms, we've updated our policies, right? Because they were all doing it. It was just that Facebook got caught.
Right.
So
and Facebook had more users than most of those other platforms.
Yeah, they still do, right? They're still the number one platform because it's a great place for all of us to connect with families and friends. So it's a huge platform for that.
Right. Okay, and there are wonderful uses for Facebook, which we'll get into in a minute. So let's talk about the difference between a business, a person, and some contrived entity. Because there are businesses, and they're, person selling the socks is a business. There's me, who's saying, it was, my daughter's birthday yesterday. I hate those stupid announcements. Look at her then, and look at her now, and we're so proud. Anyway, and talk about having no privacy at all. But anyway, and then there's these other things, and I'll use an example of one that I quite like, which is the Contemplative Monk. Who knows who it is? It's just some person who posts these really great things, and they posted something that I quite liked, and all of a sudden got this barrage of comments saying, this is so unlike your platform, and this is, I look to you for a certain kind of post, and this is not normally like you, and blah, 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 away you go. But that's not really a person. Right. But they're not disguising themselves trying to be a person. They're not saying they're Jane Smith. They're saying that they are the Contemplative Monk.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be a business or some odd entity. I'm just basically who I am. And then there's the business. So what's the difference between those three?
So we have three main, well, actually we have two main elements of Facebook, right? We have the personal side and then we have the business pages. The other element is still considered a business page.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah. You can either have a personal account, you have a personal account and you can choose to have a business page with it. And that's it. So anyone can create a business page. Even though they call it a business page, you literally can create that to be anything you want. And sometimes you don't know who's behind it. That's the hard part. So you always want to be made aware if you're going to start following a business page of any sort, just know who you're following, know who's linked in behind it. Don't just randomly follow. Just
because they have pretty pictures?
Well, they might start, putting stuff out. Yeah, but they could be putting stuff out that you could click on and it could end up being a virus, right? You just always be aware that you either at least, someone knows who runs that page, or that person is transparent and you know it's them. So you only have the two entities. So the personal side of it, you can join groups in that, you can play games, you can put whatever you want. You have complete freedom to put whatever you want out on social media as long as it meets the community standards. So Facebook does have some community standards, and that's around, racism, also privacy issues, hate crime, all of that, and the type of words that you use, right? And then you can have a business page. So if you're a business owner, you have to have a business page to conduct anything on Facebook. You can't just have a personal account, and you can't have a personal account in a business name. That goes against Facebook's policies.
All right. Are there Facebook police who are actually going to shut you down?
So they do shut you down. There's two ways it's going to happen. Either someone reports you, and you'll never know who reports you, and then Facebook at that point can shut that whole account down, and you lose everything. Okay, or if you're putting things out publicly, and it can get flagged that way and then get shut down. So Facebook ultimately can find you if you're using a personal account in a business name, and they will shut you down if they figure it out, or again, if someone reports you. Okay. Now, as a side note to that, there is another option in Facebook where you can download a copy of everything you've put on your personal account. So all your photos, all your posts, all of that, and Facebook downloads it in a zip file, so it will not take up any space on a computer, which is great, and you just keep it that way. In case anything ever happens, you still have your information. Like I know when I put pictures up on Facebook, it's very rare that I keep them on my phone. So I do, but every 3 months I go in and do these downloads, and that way I'm always, only 3 months behind on my content of whatever I put out there. So I encourage everyone to, again, that drop-down arrow at the top right-hand corner of Facebook. If you click that and go into settings, you'll see it right under the very first tab that opens, and it's right at the bottom. It says download a copy of your face. Oh, no, I apologize. It's not under the first tab. They moved it. When you click that drop-down and go to settings, down the left, it'll say your Facebook information. You're going to click on that tab, and that's where you can download a copy. And I encourage everyone to do that in case their account gets shut down or something happens. At least they've got the content that they have put out there for the last 12 years, because I would be devastated if either my business or my personal ever got shut down. I would be devastated to lose everything that I've worked hard to build, right? So,
for a personal account, I don't think it would be that big of a deal, because the photo I would already have, because I'm uploading the photo from my collection that I already have. And the content would just be...
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice picture. like.
Yeah.
The odd comment that's, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's what that little thing means.
A lot of people, because their technology is a scary element for a lot of people. I'm in my 50s, so my generation and up, technology is fairly new to a lot of people. So when they're uploading pictures, for example, on their personal, they may not realize, and they think, oh, that's great. I can delete it off my phone because I've got it on Facebook. I have access to it all the time. And then all of a sudden your account gets shut down for something, and now you don't have it. So every 3 months, download a copy, and you're good to go.
Right. I would never leave my pictures to the safekeeping of Zuckerberg.
Yeah, mine are all on Google Drive, actually.
Yeah.
I store them in Google, so I know
me too.
I have them either way.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, so you've got your personal and your business.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen people put on their personal page a photo that I like, or sometimes they don't realize that their content is not shareable.
Correct.
Right. So you go to share it with someone and they get the link and then they access the link and it says content not found
Yes.
or content not available to you.
Yes.
They say it to you.
Yes.
Because they want you to know that everybody else
Yes,
can
can
have
see
it,
it,
but
but
you
you
can't. It's
Right,
not
yes.
for you. No. So I laugh at that quite often because what I do is then I take a screenshot of the poster that somebody has posted that they've asked people to share, but of course it's unshareable for whatever reason.
Yeah. I'll
And
tell you why.
I take a screenshot of it, then it gets saved to my phone. Then all I do is post that
Yes.
screenshot, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So the people who think that they've set a privacy setting so that all their stuff that they post is actually private, it's just a joke because I can still get it and I can still post it and I can still do what I want with it.
So that really depends. So if someone has set up their profile properly, or when they're putting out posts, their privacy setting is friends. So if you're on your friends list, you could just click on it, their photo, it'll open and you can just right click, save
Yes,
as, and
save
you get
as.
the photo that way.
Right.
If you are not on their friends list, you won't see the post at all. You would never see it. To make it shareable is you have to make sure that the post is set to public.
Right. That
If
post,
that
not your,
post,
not your
nope,
whole
just
Facebook.
that post, just that post. So like sometimes I'll put something out on my personal, and someone will say, "I would love to be able to share this." So I'm like, "No problem." And then I go back to the post, edit it, and I change the privacy to public. And as soon as you do that, a share button will pop up. You'll now
Right.
see like, comment, share. If someone was to write something on their personal, share it into a group, and you see, okay, you're not on their friends list, and you see attachment unavailable, and you're like, why can't I see that? Because they shared it from their personal, you are not on their friends list, so you can't actually see it.
Even if you're in the same group as they are.
Correct, because you're not on the friends list, so it says attachment unavailable.
Interesting.
If the post is public, never an issue. You'll always be able to see every single post that's public, and you'll be able to share every single post that's public. But yeah. And ultimately, let's be honest, you can steal anything of anybody's too. We like to believe that even if we put something set to our friends that no one can touch it. If I'm on your friends list, I can just use the snipping tool that Microsoft provides, and I can literally steal anything. If you even embed something, I can still steal it using a snipping tool. So everyone needs to be aware. Your stuff is never safe. Never
Right.
safe.
I always say my husband's been saying to the kids for years, because he's in the computer industry as well, and he says, Facebook is like standing naked in the mall. Would you stand naked in the mall?
Yeah.
Probably not. So be careful what you put on Facebook
Absolutely.
or Instagram or Snapchat or any of the social media platforms, because they're not as secure as you come to believe that they are.
Yeah.
And
Well, and the other thing too, especially for the young kids, as they're getting through college and university, or even during that time frame, they're applying for jobs.
Yep.
Okay, so let's be honest. Most, when they first started social media, kids, right, parents got them set up on Facebook. And if the privacy settings weren't done properly, I can literally go into Facebook, type their name, and I can see whatever they've put out on social media. Even with any of their platforms, Instagram, whatever platforms they're using. So it's really important that the younger generation understands that what you're putting out there, if you have not set up your privacies properly, your potential employers can find whatever it is, those pictures of you out drinking in a bar or dancing on tables, right?
blackface at a party,
Right.
Mr. Trudeau.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyone can find that information. So you apply for a job. The first thing they're doing, they are going to Google you.
And my kids
Right?
used to say to me 5 years ago, Mom, no, they're not. Nobody's going to go and look at my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And now that one of my daughters is a sales manager and she's a divisional manager,
Right.
that's exactly what she's doing to get
Yes,
to know her
right.
new people. Because
Well-
the hiring team hires them and then she's got them. And what is she
Right.
doing? She's just going through their social media, seeing who they are, getting to know
Yep.
them, seeing their personal life. And I said,
Right.
weren't you the one who told me 5 years ago they'll never do that,
Yeah.
Mom?
But it can also prevent you from even getting an interview.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So
sure.
parents need to talk to their kids to make sure that they understand how things are set up and that they've gone through and done the homework on the privacy side, because it can prevent them from growth in any job, anything really. We can find you,
Yeah.
right?
It really is a parenting thing too. It has to become part of your regular dialogue with
Yes.
children about what is safe. Facebook is not a venting platform. Don't vent on Facebook. There's that classic scenario of the kid who was at a Division I school in the U.S. on a full ride scholarship for hockey, had a discrepancy with the coach, went back to his dorm and just blasted. Can't stand this organization, can't stand it, like to kill them all, they're just idiots, and just vented. And it was just a vent, just a rant. 12 hours later, he would have taken it back in a heartbeat, but it was already on social media. The school called him in, canceled his scholarship, sent him home, and his entire career ruined, blown up by a Facebook post. And there was no forgiveness.
And there
You're
shouldn't
done.
be.
You're
There shouldn't
done.
be, because
you
that
can't
should
be
never have
threatening
happened.
people.
No,
You can't be
exactly.
talking bad things about the school that you're attending who's giving you a scholarship. No, 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 no. You're done. And the parents pleaded. They had lawyers and everything, and the bottom line is the bottom line, and all because of a rant on Facebook.
Yes.
Don't rant on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
You know, if you really need to type it out on your computer, on an email with nobody's address
Yes.
on the top.
I
Hold
do that.
on to it for 2 or 3
Yeah,
days.
I'll even send myself
then-
a Facebook message.
Yep.
Right? And I type my rant or my vent there and send it to myself and then go, okay, good, I got it out.
Yep.
Right? And that's all, most of the time, that's all people need.
Yeah.
They just need to
That's
get
why
it
it's
out.
called venting, right?
Right? So put it somewhere where no one sees it. It's just you seeing it. And at least will help you calm down.
Yep.
And now make you think twice about actually putting that out into the social media world.
Right.
Right?
Because you are putting it out to everybody.
Absolutely.
And even if the dean of the school is not on your friends
Doesn't
list,
matter.
someone who's on your friends list has the dean's contact
Exactly.
information.
And
Hey,
they just
buddy,
did a
have you seen this?
screenshot,
Yeah.
right? And
like I just said, yeah.
Exactly. And they send it off, and next thing you know, you're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's that time of the day when we have to take a little break. You're listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Brenda Masson. We're speaking with Tammy Hudgin, and we're talking about Facebook, of all things. Like Facebook doesn't get talked about enough.
know.
But we're talking about it in a different way this
Yeah.
morning. And when we come back, we'll talk about how to maximize your business opportunities by using social media. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. We are back on Fresh Waves. We are talking with Tammy Hudgin, and I'm your host, Brenda Masson. We're here every week on Whistle FM and at freshwaves.ca whenever you want to listen to a podcast. We're talking today about Facebook. We did talk a little bit in the first half about your personal page and just some general information about Facebook. Now we're going to get into having a business page. There are so many, I'm going to say women in particular, because statistically it is women who are working from home and starting small businesses. And in my world, a lot of women over 50. Some who have stayed home for 22 years raising a bunch of kids, and now they're getting back into the workforce. They don't want to become multi-billionaires. They're just running small businesses out of their homes. And whether they're doing multi-level marketing where they already have some advertising potential coming in from another larger conglomerate and they're just a little pea in the pod, or they're starting a small business. And they don't know where to turn, and they don't know how to use Facebook. So first of all, you're saying that they should have a business page.
They have to.
They can't really just say under their own name, this is, Sarah Smith, and if you want to come to my house and do a workshop on pouring paint, come on over.
Technically, they can, but they have to be careful on how they word it, because Facebook rules says that you cannot use a personal account for commercial use.
Right, and I know there's a lot of small businesses now that are
That they do
saying,
it.
well, they're saying the investment is
Well,
instead of how much it costs.
Yeah,
They
well,
like
you don't
the word
have to,
investment.
but you don't have to pay anything to run a business page, right? I very rarely invest in advertising, and when I do, I spend about $25, and I'll run it for a month, and I only do it just to get more visibility. That's pretty much most of my ads. But you do not have to spend a single dime on Facebook. You can successfully build a business with only your time. Okay,
so when you get a business page, there's no fee for it.
No, it doesn't cost you anything to have a business page. What it is, this is where the confusion is. So they have an algorithm system in place, Facebook. And the algorithms take what you posted and they will push it, because it's a public page, out to 1% of your fan base. So nothing, really. Like if I, right, 1% of 1,000, who am I hitting? So they do that because they're trying to get you to spend money to reach more people. Okay. So that's why they'll put up, pay $18 and boost this post and you'll reach this many people. They're doing it to try to make money. However, what the algorithms will do for you is they reward you when you have engagement on your business page. So when you do a post on your business page, if anyone likes, comments, or shares it, Facebook will reward you and push your post out further at no cost.
Okay.
So the more engagement you get, the higher your reach goes. So, for example, I was just happened to look at numbers yesterday. I know the algorithms are going through another change, but if you had the one I was looking at yesterday, it was 290 engagements, so like, comments, and shares, and we reached almost 1,000 people from that.
Wow.
Right? So that's how you work it. If you can build it and work the groups, work your personal as well, but tying all those three, right? Pages, business pages, groups, and personal, bringing those all together, networking, building relationships, sharing your posts from your business page into a variety of groups, doing those elements will help create engagement. And if you get engagement, you can increase your reach. So then you don't have to spend any money. $0.
Well, that's interesting.
Yes.
Okay, but if you're just starting out, then you actually would want to encourage your friends and family,
absolutely,
and everybody to just constantly be liking your page and trying to share it.
Get that small circle of people that will help you in supporting you and getting your stuff out there just to build it. But yeah, as soon as you create a business page, right under your cover photo, there's a more button, and when you click that, it says invite your friends to like your page. And you click on that and it brings up all your friends, and you can go through and just start inviting whichever people you want. And you need to do that, right? You need to get your page built up. So you start with that element, then you start building it into the groups where you're meeting people you don't know. And then you're getting them either on your friends list, or you're asking them for support in liking your business page. So you need to build up those likes in order to start getting the engagement, like, comments, and shares on a post.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that principle only applies to businesses?
Correct.
Okay.
Only for businesses. If you're just using Facebook for personal, you're not even going to get involved in any of those elements. However, you could be that person, one of those people that's going to help support that business. So if your daughter, has a business, right?
I get requests all the time.
Exactly.
To like
so
a page.
Support that. And then, another way that you can help those small business owners, because a lot of business owners, small business, can't afford to spend the money.
Right.
So we rely on the community to support us. And a simple way to do it is to share our posts from our business page onto their personal timelines.
Okay.
Because then we reach their market, right? Their network of people that they have built. And by doing that, it costs you nothing. You're not buying their product. You're not buying or using their services. You're showing support just by clicking on the share button and sharing it onto your timeline. And that's huge for us. As a small business owner, that's powerful. To have that share, the share is the biggest impact on engagement, right? So likes and comments are great, but shares give us the most visibility, because when you share, it goes out to your friends' news feeds. So you're reaching a market, like a bigger market than you had an opportunity to reach before. So we rely on that. We rely on the communities to help us get further into Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would you advise somebody, say someone's listening to the show right now and they're just starting out their own business and they've got their little name and maybe they hopefully have some original artwork that they haven't ripped off of someone else.
And actually, okay, now the business page is public.
Okay.
Okay, so anything you put on there worldwide can be seen.
Right.
You better not be putting copyright photos on there. People need to know you can't just go into Google, type in a keyword, dog, and look at images and take an image and put it on social media. Actually, you can't put it anywhere, not on your website, because you don't know if there's a copyright issue to it. And you can be sued for that by the original owner. So instead, there are sites that provide free stock photos like Pixabay, Pexels, iStock Photo, or iStock Photo, those Shutterstock, those platforms, they do have some paid images, but they also have, especially Pixabay and Pexel, a ton, like thousands and thousands of high resolution free stock photos.
Yeah.
That's where you go. Take them from there.
You'll notice the ones that you have to pay for, they have a watermark of the person's name across the whole photo that you can't get rid of.
No, right?
That's your first clue. Can't use this photo.
Exactly. So there is another small trick I'll give you. If you go into Google and you type dog, and you click on the images tab and all the dogs show up.
Right.
You'll also see a tab along the top called tools. And if you click that, you can then, there's one called usage. And when you click on it, you can choose to do labeled for modification or labeled for free use or something like that. And it will refilter and only give you the pictures that have zero copyright to them.
Oh, nice.
So you can do it through Google, but that's a long way to go. Just go into one of these free software platforms or websites and download some stock photos from there.
Yeah. And if you want something that's truly original and going to be yours till the end of time, that's branding your product, spend a few dollars and go to a designer and get something done.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't cost that much money, and plug to the local artists out there. They do a really good job.
Yeah.
Just because you have a computer doesn't make you a graphic designer.
No. Oh gosh, no. That sometimes drives me crazy with some of the things I see go out there.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? You can find people that are willing to, maybe they do up 5 main graphics for you that you can modify the text on. But the base of it's done and you're just adding text. So you're using the same branding pictures every single time in essence, but changing out the words. Right. So that should be part of your marketing plan, and especially the branding side of it.
Yeah,
right?
Well, if you think for a second about the I call it the magic of marketing, because marketing is, in fact, wizardry. It really is. But when you think of how powerful it can be, where now Nike doesn't have to put their name beside that check mark. You see that check mark anywhere, and that's Nike.
Have you seen the new Doritos commercial?
No.
So Doritos has an actual commercial where they don't use their name at all.
Oh, perfect.
And they've done a great job with the commercial in saying, we don't need to tell you the name. And they go through this whole thing, and everybody knows it's Doritos, right? And Nike would be in the same boat. They can do a commercial without ever using the word.
Yeah, that's what those big companies do, and that's that's why whoever takes over the Dome Stadium, it becomes their stadium, and they want that branding. When it was the Rogers Center, they wanted it to be known as the Rogers Center. They paid a lot of money to have that stadium, and
that's what we need to do as small business owners. That's why I branded myself as me. So, because I looked at it and said, if I can sell me, it won't matter what businesses come under me as I'm growing. If I decide to launch something else, I can still keep it under Tammy Hudgin. It allows me expansion, right? When we give a business name to something and then, something comes along and we're like, oh my God, that would be so great. It would complement my business. Now you're creating a second business page. Right? Because you're like, I don't want to put it on my other page, but if I'm just Tammy Hudgin, I can pretty much change out what I need to change out. I'm still Tammy Hudgin. And again, when you Google and you put my name in, you see everything I do. So it's easier for people to remember my name than remember my company name in essence.
Yeah.
So I focused, that was my third rebrand.
Tommy Hilfiger, point in case.
Right. All of the, Chanel and, you think of all of them. Kate Spade, right?
Ralph Lauren.
They all branded themselves, which allowed them to bring anything under that umbrella.
Right. And
they keep their main brand. So I went through 3 changes in my brand until I said, no, I'm just going to be Tammy Hudgin. I'm going to sell that.
Yeah, plus you get a wallet full of business cards, all with your name on it, but all these different hats that you wear.
Exactly. It's perfect. It's like, this is great. Yeah.
It's just who you are. And then have one business card and list them all.
Right.
And so on Facebook, you have then one identity for your business. But then how do you differentiate the different things that you do? You just...
So it depends on how you're working that business page. So unfortunately for me, even though I branded myself as Tammy Hudgin, what I ended up doing with my business page is I turned it into more of a Facebook learning page. So I'm constantly putting tips out about Facebook. So now if I, because I've had some other business come into play, now, when I was bringing those businesses, I'm going, I can't bring that into my business page because I focused so much on the Facebook world that it didn't make sense.
Right.
Right? So I don't, you want to be careful you don't fall into that trap. So that's what I ended up, happened to me, even though I branded myself as Tammy. From the day I started that page, I just focused on teaching people Facebook. So I end up having to create a second business page to monitor for the other business I had brought on, which will be leaving me. But so just... if you're going to go that route, you have to know up front. You have to go, okay, I have to be very careful on how I am going to move forward marketing if I plan on bringing another business under my umbrella, right? So that it does tie in. If they don't complement each other, then you can't run it off the same business page because then it's just confusion, right? It looks like a mess, right? So if you're bringing on another business, make sure it complements it well because then you could revamp your marketing to include both businesses onto the same page.
Okay, so you had a business name and then you have your own personal page.
Yes.
And your personal page is going to have things like, it's my dog's 12th birthday. And your business page is going to have Fresh Waves this week is having Tammy Hudgin on.
Right.
So I may have people on my personal page, which has been around a lot longer than the business page. And I'm just using this as an example. It could be anybody's business. So now there's people that you want to take off of your personal page and put them onto your business page because you want to make the two separate, but they're not really separate because then Facebook combines them all anyway.
No, technically they don't.
So if you saw me at that moment, I looked like a dog, that can't figure out what you're supposed to do.
You guys
head going in different directions.
You needed to see her face on that one. So technically, your business page is tied to your personal account.
It is anyway.
Technically,
okay.
In behind the scenes, it is that way. But they're still separate entities. Okay? They're still treated separate. They're just only linked in behind the scenes. That's it. Okay? So I could have a business page, never show my name, never show my face, and you would never know.
Like those people who use their dog as their profile picture?
Exactly.
Oh, I hate that.
But you'll never know that I'm the person behind the page because you can't see that on the business page.
Right.
So even though they're linked in behind, technically up front they're not. So on the difference as well is on your personal account, personal profile, you get friends. On your business page, you get followers.
Okay.
So they're two different things. The personal is mostly, if people have set their privacies up properly, it's set to friends. Business page is automatically public. So anyone can see what you put on your business page. Now, it's not about transferring people back and forth because you don't add people as a friend on your business page. You invite them to like your page. That's it.
Okay.
On our personal, we ask someone to be our friend. We accept them, allowing them in to see what we're doing. So if you don't want them on your personal, but you want them following your business page, you would unfriend them, which is
harsh.
Very harsh.
I can't imagine.
I know. So I don't. I have 4,700 friends. I just leave it the way it is.
Right.
But you want to make sure, though, you go to your business page and use the option to invite them to like the business page. So at least as soon as they like the business page, at least you're getting visibility to that page. But if you don't want them on your personal, you have to unfriend them. Now, they will not get a notification to say, Tammy unfriended you. You will. They won't do that.
So mean.
Right? But if you happen to go looking for that person and
They're no longer there.
It'll say add friend. You're like, what do you mean add friend?
Friend.
What? We were friends. Why did they unfriend me? And it's a big deal. It is a really big deal.
So for some people
right?
it is.
So be careful when you're using that unfriend button because it does upset people when they realize that you're no longer friends.
I actually got a message at Christmas time from a friend who obviously sent this message to everybody on her list and said, if you stop getting messages from me, it's because I'm culling my Facebook page and I've decided to only keep my close friends. And that's so mean.
Right? Oh, what? You don't consider me a close friend, right?
I didn't get cut, but gee, I felt sorry for the people who did get cut.
Yeah, so a lot of people do that. I see that a lot on Facebook. They write a status and say, if you can read this, it means you made the cut. And, I've cleaned up my friends list and blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't know why you're even cleaning up your friends list, in essence.
Yeah, but there are people who willy-nilly, Jason Rumball, go along accepting people as friends, and then they find out later that it's even a fake identity, that the person doesn't even exist.
Absolutely, yes.
And he's nice enough to tell me which those people are.
But yes.
The town politics in Stouffville gets a little crazy sometimes. Oh, yeah.
But yes, definitely unfriend when you feel that you're not safe, when you believe it's a fake account. I go through, I'm going to give you guys a little tip. So you get a friend request. Yeah. You're going to click on the friend request. It's going to take you to that person's profile.
Not on the yes. I always click on the person.
You click on the person. You can either click on the, I don't know if they show you, they show you a picture and the name. So you can click either the picture or the name. It's going to take you to their profile. Then you're going to click on their actual profile picture, okay? And when it opens up, you need to be in Google when you're doing this. So you need to be using Google Chrome. Okay?
Right.
When this picture opens up, you're then going to right-click on the photo, and you'll have an option to search Google for this image. And it will take it into Google, and it will find that picture if it's duplicated. If there's any fake accounts associated, that information shows up. Mm-hmm. So at that point, you go, whoa, wait a minute, this is a fake account. And then I block them. I don't just delete the friend request. I physically block them.
Yeah.
That way, by blocking them, I become invisible. They can never find me again. They don't know who I am. Yeah. Unless they come in under another account, same process. So blocking them, you are invisible. Completely invisible. You don't exist to that person. So I do that a lot with mine. I will go through that, search Google for this image. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to be safe. So absolutely, you're unfriending those. But other than that,
I click on those pictures, and then when I see the profile on Facebook, if they haven't posted anything since 2018, I just delete the request.
But if their profile is set to friends only, you won't see anything on their timeline.
Okay.
Okay? If it's set to public, you'll see stuff. But if not, so you won't get a lot of information. Another little trick. So when you're sitting on their profile, if you start to scroll down, keep your eye in the top left as you're scrolling, and all of a sudden a box pops up and it'll say timeline and recent. And when you click on the recent, it shows you how long they've been on Facebook. So if it says 2019, let's say, and nothing else, and then it'll have the birth year. So it might say 2019 and then it'll go 1967. Then I know that that's a brand new account. Odds are it's probably fake. If you click on it and it says 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, I'm like, okay, they've been around long enough. I can feel safe in accepting them. So that's another little trick when you're checking those people's profiles to make sure. And if it's a picture of a man in a military uniform.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And then their cover photo, or at least one photo, is a picture of them with a little girl.
Yep.
Those are fake accounts. Please do not accept them. And most of those come through Indonesia. Is where most of those fake accounts come from, yes.
You look like U.S. military guys.
And they take those photos usually from Google, is where they go and steal the photos and they create the fake profile. And then they are the ones that are scamming women out of money. Those are the ones that are scamming you. They look
fake. I don't even bother with them.
Too many. I know people who've been scammed by it.
Yeah.
And have sent thousands of dollars to these people, to these fake accounts. It's pretty sad. Yeah. So you just got to be very careful.
But if they didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it, right?
Well, exactly. So the biggest message I can give people, take a second. Please just take that extra second and really look at who's requesting to be your friend.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't just accept for the sake of accepting. Go through it and check it. Even if you see mutual friends, still check it.
Because some of your mutual friends,
they're accepting it.
Will
They're
accept
checking
them.
it. Yes.
and
I get frustrated with that. I go, oh my God, guys, have you not learned anything from me?
Yes, and those searching engines where they're trying to profile people and trying to figure out who they are and target market them and things like that, where they're saying, what's your favorite movie? Let's be better friends.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, please don't circulate that. It's just a marketing
Do not
scam.
do those quizzes.
No.
You're
giving away all of your
tests,
personal information.
oh gosh.
And it's just, what flower
Crazy.
would you be?
No.
Oh, please.
Those are all, what you're doing there, as soon as you fill out any of those quizzes, you have given them permission to release your information and be sold to other companies.
Right.
All of those quiz platforms do that. Please don't play with the quizzes. Please don't do them. And if you're going to do them, then you better go in and check those settings inside those quiz platforms and make sure that you have nothing selected that they can sell your information.
And you don't have to be nasty about it. There's often times when I will put in the comments box of somebody who is sharing one of those things, especially when they say, don't just share this, copy and paste it. Yeah, I don't copy and paste anything, but I'll say to them, I would love to tell you what my favorite movie was over a coffee sometime.
Yeah.
Give me a call.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You know what? It's not that I'm saying I don't want to play with you. I'll play with you, but just not in that sandbox.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're just giving your information away. That's really what you're doing with any of those.
Yeah.
Right? So always just take a second and just think. There's a site called Snopes, SNOPES.com. If you're unsure of things that are coming through your news feed, you're like, is that real? Is that fake news? If you go to this snoops.com, you can type, I just copy and paste whatever it is I've seen, and I paste it into the Snoops, and it will tell you if it's real or not.
Right.
So, again, taking an extra second just to make sure you're safe.
We could sit and talk for hours, and we're out of time.
Really?
So what I want to do in the last couple of minutes of this show is just to let people know how to get a hold of you. I know that you do run courses, and they're reasonably priced from what I saw. It's not that you're having to pay a king's ransom and auction off your firstborn. It's they're quite reasonable and really worthwhile, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, they're usually like a 3-hour.
Or even if you've been on Facebook for a while and you're not getting the bang for the buck that you think you should have, and you're just a little lost about, you constantly post stuff and your reach is 23.
Yeah.
Or 6.
And that's the standard, actually.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad, guys. It's the average out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a little bit more out of it,
yes, you need to.
How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. Actually, you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Tammy Hudgin.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. If you can't find me on there, I've done my job wrong. So it's Hudgin. You can just reach out to me on there and ask me any questions. Do it through my personal. Do not message me on my business page because Facebook monitors that and they measure you on how long it takes to respond.
Really?
Yes, and they publicize that. So sometimes in the evenings, I don't tend to want to answer messages on my business page.
Good for you.
So, yeah.
I think we do have to have boundaries.
Right? Yeah.
That's good.
So I prefer if people send it to my personal, so at least I won't get tracked on my tardiness. But reach out to me with any questions, whether it's from a personal standpoint, whether it's from a business standpoint, and I can help you with whatever it is on Facebook. If I don't know the answer, I will find it, but it's very rare. When it comes to Facebook, I'm pretty much on top of things.
You're pretty savvy. There you go. Well, we would love to do this again.
Yes.
We will do a part 2
Awesome.
soon. I'd like to do it soon so that people can keep with the flow.
Yeah.
And really, thank you for coming in. This has been a fascinating little chat.
Awesome. And thank you for having me. And I look forward to coming back.
Okay, great. Jay, thanks for all your work behind the board today. You've been listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Brenda Masson. We'll catch you again next time.